Hello and welcome everyone. Today's video features a full review guide of the brand new Tier 8 Premium French battleship Flandre. The Flandre is based on the design of Alsace-class battleships from the Marine Nationale and is very similar to the Alsace in the tech tree at Tier 9. There are some subtle differences, of course, like slightly slower reload and better concealment, the most notable, but before I go through the complete stats and characteristics of the Flandre, let me tell you first about the Flandre giveaway on this video. To enter, all you have to do is leave your in-game name and the server you play on in the comment section below, in the format you see here on screen. If you like this video and this kind of giveaway, make sure to hit that like button. It really helps me out a lot and only costs a second of your time and is greatly appreciated. I hold free ship giveaways here on YouTube regularly, so make sure to hit that bell icon under the video to enable notifications so you don't miss out on these giveaway videos. Plus, I post content several times a week. So with all of that out of the way, let me start as usual with the complete build I've been using on the Flandre. And there are no real surprises here, as I'm using a deadeye build with concealment and fire prevention, as the current meta favours a more passive playstyle until wargaming start balancing the captain rework. Just a quick note here before moving on is that the Flandre does get even more secondaries than the Alsace, and the range can be extended out to 11.5 kilometers. But for the sake of this review, let's focus for now on a deadeye build, as all the numbers referenced from now on in this video are based on this exact captain build and ship upgrades. The foundation for any good battleship starts of course with its armour, and here, using a simple port screenshot, we can see the armour layout is virtually identical to its higher tier compatriot, the Alsace. 32mm of armour on both fore and aft end plating. The main deck gets the same 32mm, so high explosive spam is a major threat, but like virtually all the other French battleships. There is a slight difference and improvement, however, when it comes to the casemate armour. Just like the Alsace, it's in two sections. The upper part, just above and below the waterline, is 350mm, and the lower submerged section is 275mm. Now, I do have it turned off here in port to show you the actual armor belt values underneath, but this complete red section is covered with an additional 50mm of torpedo protection armor, which is an increase from the 32mm on the Alsace. The Flandre also gets the same turtleback armor protection as the Alsace, so angled correctly, it does feel pretty reliable under fire. Flandre's superstructure gets 19mm of armour, and the turrets get the identical armour plating as the Alsace, which is 430mm of frontal plating, 300mm of side plating, and two sections of sloped top plating of 195 and 170mm, while the rear turret plating consists of 270mm. So as you can see, armour wise, it's even more armoured than its higher tier 9 compatriot, despite being at tier 8. Flandre also gets more base hit points, coming in at 75,400. Granted, it's only marginally more than the Alsace, but I was a little surprised by this when making direct comparisons. Flandre becomes the top tier 8 battleship in terms of base hit points, even surpassing the likes of the Russian battleship Vladivostok. The Flandre gets the same 44% torpedo protection damage reduction as the Alsace, which I did find a bit strange, as it gets 50mm of torpedo protection armour as opposed to the 32mm of the Alsace. When it comes to reinforcing this survivability, it's important to notice that Flandre only gets 3 base charges of repair party compared to Alsace, and there is no fighter or engine boost consumable. So consumable wise, for a battleship it's as basic as it gets. Damage control party and just 3 repair parties, which can be increased to 4 when using the captain skill Superintendent. I tried using Superintendent several times, but didn't like sacrificing either fire prevention or deadeye for the following reasons. This 32mm of armour is vulnerable to high explosive, and high tier cruiser players invariably know this about French battleships and will try and single you out for attention. Thus, keeping the number of fires to a minimum with fire prevention is very important to your long-term survival. And the second reason for keeping deadeye instead is the accuracy of the main guns, which have a sigma of 1.8, which is a big improvement on the 1.6 of the Alsace. My general impression of these main battery guns in the 13 to 17 kilometer range were very good indeed, with the higher sigma and deadeye active of course. Flandre's main battery consists of 9 380mm guns in 3 triple mounted turrets, 2 fore and 1 aft. These guns have a reload time of 33 seconds, a 180-degree turning time of 30 seconds, and a max firing range of 20 kilometers, with a max dispersion of 244 meters at max range. Flandre's high explosive rounds can inflict a max damage of 5400 and can penetrate 63mm of armour, while having a base chance of 36% of setting the target on fire, while its armour-piercing rounds can inflict a max damage of 11,900, while both shell types have the exact same shell speed of 830 meters per second, so no adjustment is required when leading a target when swapping out shell types. I never really found myself shooting high explosive that much, as I found the armour-piercing shells to be quite hard-hitting and didn't feel like they lost penetration power at max range, even being surprised at one point when citadelling a pommern at 19 kilometers. I really liked the 1.8 sigma on these guns and was really quite impressed with the results, again in particular in that 13 kilometer to 17 kilometer range. It really seemed to be its sweet spot. Just operating in that zone, just outside your detection radius, trying to get the benefit of the deadeye bonus to dispersion, and still being close enough not to give the enemy too much time to maneuver. Of course, it's not always possible in randoms to maintain that range, as fights can play out in many different ways, but this was my own personal preferred range of engagement. I did already mention the secondaries could reach out to a range of 11.5 kilometers when building specifically for secondaries, should you wish to experiment, but this build has their base firing range of 8 kilometers. They are split into 2 gun calibers, 100mm and 152mm, starting with 28 100mm guns in 14 dual mounted turrets, with a reload time of 3 seconds, firing high explosive rounds with a max damage of 1400. They have a base fire chance of 5% and capable of penetrating 17mm of armour, with a shell speed of 855 meters per second. This is actually one extra dual turret on both port and starboard sides compared to the Alsace, and augmented with 9 152mm secondaries in 3 triple mounted turrets. They have a 12-second reload time, also firing high explosive rounds with a max damage of 2200. They have a base fire chance of 12% and are capable of penetrating 25mm of armour with a slightly faster shell speed of 870 meters per second. The drawback of the low penetration of the majority of these secondary guns, namely the 100mm, holds it back from being a secondary powerhouse. But it remains to be seen what kind of balancing will take place in regards of the secondary captain skills. So we could very well see a return of viable secondary builds, hopefully in the not too distant future. Entering the game at tier 8, Flandre will encounter a high CV population, and with an AA rating of 94, she deals pretty well with carriers of her same tier, with 61 AA guns in total, ranging from 20mm right up to 152mm, the majority of which being the 14 dual-mounted 100mm guns. All combined, they pump out a continuous average damage of 278, the majority of which is long-range damage. Flandre is capable of firing 10 flak explosions per salvo, which can inflict a max damage of 1400, and they have a max firing range of 5.8 kilometers. In general, I've found the AA to be quite effective versus tier 8 CVs, if you haven't been spammed too much by high explosive. Against tier 10 carriers is another matter though, so don't make the mistake of sailing alone, because you will get focused and die pretty fast. It's best to seek out a higher tier battleship or cruiser with similar gun range and stick close. When it comes to maneuverability, Flandre does miss the engine boost consumable one has become used to with the French battleships. However, Flandre still gets a base speed of 33.5 knots, increased to 35.2 knots when mounting the Sierra Mike signal flag, so still is very fast. The only battleship at tier 8 with higher base speed is the French premium battleship Champagne, so Flandre can outpace virtually all her tier 8 battleship competition. Flandre gets a turning circle radius of 910 meters and a rudder shift time of 13.3 seconds, and that is with the steering gears mod mounted in slot 4. Finally, stats wise, we come to the Flandre's concealment rating of 46, which is a full stealth build including the captain skill Concealment Expert and the Concealment module in slot 5, which equates to a surface detection range of 12.7 kilometers, which ties in very nicely with a deadeye build, allowing one to get closer to enemy targets, lowering their reaction time when you open fire on them. Lastly, Flandre will be spotted by aircraft at 9.8 kilometers. So in summary, what do I think of the Flandre? It's basically an Alsace at tier 8 with some minor tweaks, but I think it's a very strong ship. Those that have already played the French battleship line will immediately recognize the Alsace as being a very nice battleship. and the Flandre represents very similar gameplay, with essentially better matchmaking being a tier lower and a premium camo, allowing one to earn quite a bit of credits, as tier 8 is one of the better tiers to earn both credits and experience. Does it bring something new to the game? Well, not really, as it's essentially an Alsace clone, as I just mentioned. But it is fun, especially when you get top tiered. It really does feel like quite the bully, and why I chose this game to include in the review. It still performs well in tier 10 games, but more patience and careful play is required. But I regularly found myself chuckling in the Flandre when being top tiered, as I knew I was going to have fun in advance. Let me once again remind you of the giveaway for one lucky winner of a Flandre on this video. All you have to do to enter is be subscribed to the channel, leave your in-game name and the server you play on in the comment section below. If you found the information in this video helpful, please hit that like button. It really helps me out a lot. So thank you very much in advance. I'm going to be involved in some World of Warships events in the coming weeks and months, including broadcasting and commentating live on the upcoming King of the Sea tournament, so feel free to come on over and visit my Twitch channel. You can see the link here on screen and also find it in the video description below, along with my Discord channel, where I have weekly giveaways including more free premium ships. So again, drop by or simply say hi or just hang out and watch some chilled out live gameplay. I look forward to seeing you all, and until the next time, stay safe out there. I'd like to thank you once again all for watching. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe for more. Take a moment to check out some of my most recent videos and leave a comment below. And until the next time, keep sailing it like you stole it.